troops. Dozens of Superior residents rallied tonight criticizing the federal funding freezes from the Trump administration. That group, consisting of college students and business leaders, gathered outside the Douglas County Courthouse tonight. They say cuts and funding freezes have negatively impacted the community. At a local level, organizers say businesses, Head Start programs, and mental health programs that rely on federal grants are all at risk. The group says they understand their rally won't stop anything from happening in Washington, but they say it's important to organize, whether it's big or small, to let people know they're not alone and their voice matters.
People are angry, people are upset, and I think one of the biggest things right now is people are lost and confused and maybe feeling a little hopeless, like there's not a lot we can do. And so I think this kind of community organizing is really important.
They're calling on their neighbors to stand with them and reach out to their elected officials to protect them in Washington.
A new